February 9th, 2021 council work session. And at this time, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Reynolds.
Here.
Ms. Shinholster.
Here.
Mr. Mullins.
Here.
Ms. Walden.
Here.
Mr. Chambers.
Here.
Dr. Lee.
Here.
Okay, we do have a quorum present. At this time, we're going to go into mayor's comments, and I'm going to keep that very brief tonight so that we can have time for our presentation and to go into the city manager's report. The only thing I'm going to report right now is that I did speak with Jonathan Jackson on today, and he's stated that he will email each one of you all the upcoming updates from the DBA, and it should be in your email boxes now. So, he's also going to add a link that if you want to join the meetings, you can join the meetings by that link. And that way we all are informed, as well as our representatives. So that's all I'm going to give on today, and I'm going to turn this back over into the hands of Mr. Griffith to introduce our guest panelists for today.
Thank you, Mayor. One of the things that I started concentrating on when you all allowed me to be the city manager was to make sure that we heard from people in the community as to what was going on in their world, to those folks that are important to our community. And we have had presentations during the work sessions for the last 18 months from those. One of the first ones that I did when I was interim city manager was bring Dr. Dorman up, and we were meeting face-to-face then back in executive chambers. And that was a little over a year ago, and we actually have asked him to come back tonight. February has kind of become their month, and it works well for them. And so without any further ado, I'm going to turn things over to Dr. Steve Dorman and say, welcome, Dr. Dorman. We're glad you're here.
Well, thanks.
I think you muted yourself. There we go.
There you go. Thanks. Can everybody hear me now?
We can.
Thank you all so much for the invitation. I do have a set of slides that I think Hank is going to try to put up on the screen, and we'll just go through them right quick. And then if you've got questions, comments, I'm certainly glad to take them after that. We certainly appreciate the relationship that Georgia College has with the city, and we are partners, co-laborers, and trying to do what we do here. And so we thank you all for all the support that we get from the city and from the people of Milledgeville to do what we do here at Georgia College. This is let me just have you to go to the next slide. Thanks. Just wanted to give you a little bit of info about Georgia College, where we are right now. We have around 1,700 employees, total employees, of which about 928 are full-time employees. We also, that doesn't include our Sodexo employees that are really not our employees, they're employee of Sodexo. Sodexo is our food service vendor. Of the full-time employees, 357 are faculty and 571 are full-time staff. This year, our undergraduate student enrollment was around 5,600, and we had one of the highest graduate student enrollments in the history of the institution this past year, 1,268 graduate students. And it's looking like that a lot of people are interested in Georgia College, coming back to Georgia College to do their graduate studies. Thought it might be interesting to you also to see our total salaries for 2020, $64 million. So it's that kind of money that we're paying for people to work at Georgia College, and that kind of money that's going back into the economy of Baldwin County, Milledgeville, from the employees of Georgia College. Next slide, please. Also thought I'd give you an idea of our revenue sources. We have a revenue of around $146 million of which 40 million dollars comes from state appropriations, 53 million from tuition and fees, and then about 30 million from our auxiliary enterprises. The auxiliary enterprises are the things like Sodexo, the food service, but also our dormitories and our parking are all also make up auxiliary enterprises. Next slide, please. Thought I'd also show you the economic impact. These numbers are generated every year by the Terry College of Business, University System of Georgia at UGA. And every year they conduct a economic assessment of what is the economic impact of the USG institutions. And in 2018, the economic impact of Georgia College was $298 million for the community. Next slide, please. Now, remember I said the state appropriated $40 million to Georgia College and had an economic impact of $298 million. That's a return of $7.45 on every dollar. And so that's, when you look at it on a return of dollars, what you get for your money, that's a pretty good return for the money that the state puts into Georgia College. Next slide, please. The other thing I think you all are well aware of, but I like to make sure people understand is if we have 5,600 undergraduate students at Georgia College, there are some studies that show that the average annual spending of undergraduate students is around $13,000, which yields $72 million if it were taken in a whole. Now, I'm not saying that all this money is being spent in Milledgeville by any means, but probably a good percentage of this money is being spent in Milledgeville. When you think about this money is spent on food, on living expenses, on housing, on purchasing things for school, much of this is being spent in the local economy. Next slide, please. I also want to remind you of the impact that our students have just in giving back to the community. Every year, our students give back a number of service hours to the community as volunteers. And this is recorded through our Give Center. And last year in 2019, that had an economic impact of $1.5 million. So what this means is that our students volunteered in the school system, volunteered in many community agencies, and the impact of their service totaled to over $1 million when you look at what they contribute back to the community just in volunteer opportunity alone. Next slide, please. The other thing that I just wanted to point out is that we also are an organization that has a fundraising enterprise, a giving enterprise to the tune of about $4.85 million a year. Our foundation brings in, at least in the last 5 years, an average of $4.85 million per year. We've just been through a capital campaign, just concluded one last July, and that capital campaign raised a total of $30.8 million for the university. And much of that went to our endowment, or many of those funds were endowed funds, and they will continue to give back in the form of scholarships, research opportunities, and opportunities for visiting scholars to come into the area for many years to come. Next slide, please. The other thing that I wanted to point out is that since 2013, there have been nearly $70 million, $69,890,000 in bonded projects that have funded facility improvements around Georgia College. Ennis Hall, Beeson Hall, Mayfair, McIntosh, Terrell, Kilpatrick, the Integrated Science Complex that you see coming up now. All of these were bonded projects, And you can see to the tune of about $70 million. And of course, these contractors and used and employed local individuals to do much of the work. And so this is also money that was spent in the Milledgeville, Baldwin County area. Next slide, please. And in addition to our bonded projects, we as an institution are able to set aside funds every year to do what we call locally funded projects. We've upgraded the last 2 summers, for example, we spent money upgrading the Russell Auditorium. The work we've done in the Liberty Street parking lot. We've upgraded the library. We have upgraded the Centennial Center, the exterior of the Centennial Center. So all of these are locally funded. They weren't funded with bonds. They were funded with local money that we were able to put together. And you can see over the last, since 2016, we have put in an additional $34 million in locally funded projects. And once again, these are projects that use local contractors many times, and these people are employing people in the area. So we feel like that this is really also contributing to the local economy. Next slide, please. Projects that are currently ongoing that I wanted you to know about. You probably know about the Integrated Science Complex. You probably are seeing it come up from the ground now and have an impact on the horizon at Georgia College. This is a science building, a $22 million project. It will hopefully be completed by the end of fall. We'll be moving in, and this will be a great addition to our sciences. It's right across the street from where Hurdy Hall is now, and it'll be a great addition to our sciences. In addition to that, we have recently been approved by the legislature to build an interpretive center out at Andalusia. It will be located in the field right that you see as you pass on 441. And I think the next 3 or 4 slides, Hank, if you just want to go through those right quick. Here are some of the artist renderings. You can see Columbia Street and what the Interpretive Center, how it will be put out in the open field that are there. And maybe Hank just go through those slides. This is one of the artist renderings of what it might look like. Next slide. Another sort of positionality of how the Interpretive Center might be put. These are the contents of the Interpretive Center. Slide. So that's an example. That's an example of the Interpretive Center that you'll see going up out on 441. It will probably be next year about this time. We'll be in earnest building that, doing that building. Another impactor that certainly impacts the economy are our future majors, what our students major in. This is a question that people ask a lot. You can see that nursing, marketing, psychology, exercise science, biology are some of our largest subscribed to majors, at least at the undergraduate level. And then I already noted that our graduate programs are growing substantially, and these are typically programs in education, nursing, public administration, logistics and supply chain management, management information systems. Next slide, please. We do believe that Andalusia and the Andalusia Institute that we have started will be a major contributor for the future. We hired an executive director of our Andalusia Institute this past year. And the idea is to create a center or an environment that will allow for creative workshops for those that might be aspiring writers to engage with the local and regional K-12 schools. We hope to bring students into Andalusia. We'd love to create a residence program. I think most of you know that Flannery, when she graduated from Georgia College, she actually moved to Iowa and then to New York to do some intense training and development in her writing. And we have thought that maybe we could be that place that would also use her property as a place that might attract future writers and authors and create a residency program here, and that certainly would potentially contribute to the local economy as well. We do believe the Interpretive Center will help us to enhance tourism in the area and help us to bring others to Andalusia through what's happening at the Interpretive Center. Next slide, please. Another future impactor that we're really excited about is we've started a Rural Studies Institute. We hired an executive director, a founding director in February 2020, and this institute hopefully is going to look at the educational, environmental, economic, and health disparities that we see typically in rural areas and try to help bring some suggestions and some ideas for dealing with these disparities as they manifest themselves in places like Milledgeville, but also in places like that are just contiguous to Milledgeville. Next slide, please. So one thing that I'll just let you sort of see behind the curtain that I'm really excited about. Most of you may have already heard about this, but there is an area at the corner of Thomas Street and Wayne Street that is currently occupied by by some of our physical plant garages. And we would love to make this into a park. And the reason we would love to do this is because it's our understanding that there is a spring, actually there is a spring, under one of the garages. I've seen it. And if you'd like to see it, I can arrange for you to see it under one of the garages and at this site. And we are told that that spring is the spring that when Milledgeville was chosen as the capital of Georgia, that it was the spring that as they landed their boats at the shoals of the river and came across the hill that was there and came down, they said they saw a spring, and by the spring was a large tree. And there's actually a tree in that area that Dr. Wilson, I think, has done the studies on and believes it is the tree that they may have actually seen. This is the spring, and there are three actual pictures here. Hank, if you want to just go through each one of them. These are artist renderings of what this area might look like at some point in time. We'd like to remove the physical plant materials from this corner and actually turn the corner into a park and call it Founders Park because it, as we understand it, was the founding elements for why Milledgeville was chosen as the state capital. And I'm really excited about this project. It'll be something that'll bring a beautiful park-like area to that part of campus. Then the other thing that I just wanted to let you know about is our intersection. This is the intersection that you probably heard a lot about. It's the Barnes, called a Barnes Dance or a Barnes Walk. It is at the intersection of Hancock and Clark Street. We have worked with DOT recently, and they have established a crosswalk that will allow students to cross diagonally. There'll be no turns on right at that corner, but there will be a point in time that all the people on either corner can cross at the same time to the corner laterally, or they can actually do a diagonal crosswalk to the adjacent corner that is diagonal to where they are. This will work in collaboration. It's not being shown here, but it'll be work in collaboration with a hawking system that is also in front of the crosswalk at Ennis, and it'll be their time together, as I understand it. And so hopefully it will deal with some of the congestion that occurs in that area, and will be safer for our students. And it's something that DOT has suggested as we've tried to focus in on safety, the crosswalk safety in this area. And we do appreciate your help with us over on the Liberty Street, Montgomery area. We will be doing a hawking type system there. I think actual materials are on order right now, and in the next few months, we will have that system up as well. That's where we are. I really appreciate you giving me a little bit of time to talk with you about where we are. We have a number of people on the call today from Georgia College. My assistant, Mrs. Starley, is on the call. Our provost, Costa Spiro, and our community liaison and AD, Wendell Staten, is on the line, and our university communications officer, Omar O'Day, and his assistant, Eric Jones, is there. And I think our Vice President for Student Life, Sean Brooks, is on as well. So if I can't answer your question, maybe one of those can answer your question, but we really appreciate you giving us some time, and we'd be glad to take any questions that you all might have.
I think the question of the day is to you, and that is the news that was announced and the fact that you're going to be leaving your office. I don't know about Milledgeville, don't know where you're going from there, but if you can kind of give us a quick idea of what's going to be transpiring.
Well, yes, recently I told the chancellor that it was my intention to step away from the presidency after 9 years, and my hair is a little gray there, and so we thought, Jane and I have been talking for a while, and 9 years is a pretty good stint as president of the university. I think it's longer than our previous 2 presidents, and so we just thought it's time to maybe to allow a new president to come in, and time for us to maybe do some other things as well. So we are gonna I'll be stepping down from the position on September 1st. The chancellor will and the board of regents will determine where to go from here. I'm sure they'll do a search, and I'm sure that Georgia College will be able to attract an outstanding new president. Georgia College is a wonderful institution with wonderful people, and who really want and are dedicated to make this institution the best that it can be. And so I know that the reputation of Georgia College is going to serve it well as we go to find a new president. So, but I certainly want to take this opportunity to thank you all and for all that you have done to support Georgia College during my time as president. I think Georgia College is just a wonderful place to be, and Milledgeville is a very special place for our students. I think that they call it Millie, and they all are when I go to see them, what's happening in Millie? What's happening in Millie? So they hold Milledgeville in their hearts, and so there are good things that they think about Milledgeville as well.
Well,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Dorman, Mr. Chambers kind of stole my thunder there. I was going to say, please allow me to say thank you on behalf of the mayor and council, that we are certainly appreciative of your dedication, not only to Georgia College State University, but to our community as a whole. So thank you for all that you've done. And when you depart this area, we wish you well on your next journey, whatever that may be, and we hope to see you pop back into Millie every now and then. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Mayor. I appreciate your kind words. That's very nice.
It doesn't seem like it's 9 years ago that I was in your office when I was working for the technical college right after you got here, and we had a chance to meet each other. 9 years it's been a good 9 years for Georgia College and for Milledgeville, and thank you for being here.
Well, thanks, Hank. It has been a good time for us, and we have appreciated our time here, and just appreciate your support. And when you were at the technical college, you were always very supportive of what we tried to do, and now in your role now you are too. So I really do appreciate that. The next president's going to find you a great source of comfort, I know.
Well, thank you. Any other questions from any members of council or the mayor? Well, if not, we will let these folks go. Thank y'all so much for being with us, and let us know how we can help you.
Thank you so much, Hank. We appreciate it. I hope y'all have a good, productive meeting. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
letting us pop in for a few
Thank
minutes.
you.
You too, thank you.
Bye, Hank. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I think it's just down to us now.
All right, we're down to the nitty gritty.
I shared with you all via email yesterday that I felt like the balance of our time in the work session today would need to be spent in a closed session. And in that email, I included some information for you, some that will be voted on at the next meeting, and some just simply for information purposes for y'all. I did want to tell you that I plan beginning sometime this week to share with y'all a kind of a city manager summary of the previous week. And I'm doing that really to help me remind myself of some things that I need to tell you all that I sometimes miss. And so I will always work to send that to you by about Wednesday or so of the next week after the previous week that I'm reporting on. Also, I meant to tell you in the email that I did not, but I'm going to, while I've taken sick leave, I'm going to be working from home tomorrow. I took my second COVID shot today, and all indications is if you're going to have any issues, you have it with the second shot. So just in case I do have any issues, I'll be working from home tomorrow, but please feel free to give me a call, and I'll have my laptop there. And even though I took sick leave, I'll still be working. So with that said, Mayor, I would ask that you entertain going into closed session so we can discuss personnel issues.
Okay, can I get a motion that we're going to come out of regular session and go into closed session to discuss personnel and legal matters?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, it's been properly motion and second, so at this time, we'll go into closed session, and we'll ask those that are here that needs to step out to please step out at this time.
I need to take a roll call, please.
Okay.
Ready?
here,
Mr. Mullins?
Here.
Ms. Walden?
Here.
Mr. Chambers?
Here.
Dr. Lee?
Here.
The closed session, open session, if there's no other comments or concern, need a motion meeting will be adjourned. Took out the wrong meeting.